I'm leaving in 6 weeks.
We're saying
Keep it light.
disease-free in life.
6 weeks too fast. Me like you.
I never understood what people were talking about when they said long distance relationships are hard. I mean,
Really?
Yeah, no, because I mean, really, put it all together. You ain't got to hear that shit 24 hours a day. She's somewhere else.
Okay. Oh no, I know why you don't get it because you're not gonna stay with one chick. It's like, for you, it's a long distance relationship. That means that she's out of town.
Well, that's the benefit. At some point, you are the good guy because she's gonna get tired of it. She's gonna say this isn't working anymore. You can pretend to cry.
The idea of the relationship is when you go back to that town, you'll have sex with her.
Yeah,
and that's about as far as that. She might think that word means something else.
It never has to be deep, and then even when you got that thing on the side, by the time you go back and start that up, that other thing will be getting old, and she'll tell you to go on, and then you got something else to fall into.
It's kind of like a serial killer.
Yeah, rinse and repeat.
Yes, but normal people look at it differently.
Normal people mean people who try to be noble, people who have feelings.
I'm not saying
so you don't have a problem with her sucking other dicks while she's out of town.
As long as I don't have to hear about it.
He'll sure be tasting it.
Instead of showing up with champagne, I'll show up with some scope. It'll be all right. What is this for? We just use it. Wash your mouth out. Drink it. I don't give a shit. But no, you know what? No.
You don't want to kiss her in front of pubic hair in her teeth. That's gross.
Okay. Instead of a box of chocolates, bring some toothpicks too. But no, yeah, in all seriousness, long distance relationships are hard. And a lot of people who have had them, I think, can probably relate to this film because this is not only a romantic comedy, but it is a rated R romantic comedy. And sometimes they get that right. It's perfect. And, they, by making it rated R, they can go a step beyond what a regular romantic comedy does. And this right here I found a little more annoying because it was rated R.
Well, it doesn't seem like for once the raunchiness was just tacked on to what was actually a pretty good story with pretty cool characters.
Yeah.
Because every time they wanted to okay, now we're going to get the big set piece that has sexy stuff going on to titillate your audience, and you're like, wow, this felt like a wrote-in titillating set piece that's just dumb.
It seemed like it was ad-libbed, and it's like every scene had to end with somebody, going, suck my dick, or, lick my balls, or something like that. And it just wasn't.
And I know
funny.
coming from us, it seems strange that we would be complaining about that. But
no, when I say it's funny.
It seems strange that y'all would be complaining about that. Because I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just didn't find it to be that big a deal. I mean, this movie, to look at the trailer, it's easy to go like, this is the last thing I want to see. I thought it actually wasn't that bad. It was actually charming and funny most of the time. There's plenty of it that falls flat, but for the most part, it kind of follows the formula. Well, not kind of. It very much follows the formula of the 40-year-old virgin, in as much as you have the two characters who have most of their friends. I mean, like with Justin Long, his two friends are Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Jason Sudeikis from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And they have those kind of raunchy guy conversations that a lot of guys actually have. I mean, matter of fact, through watching this whole thing, a lot of stuff Jason Sudeikis said, I'm like, wow, that's almost taken verbatim from what I've told my friends who tried to go into long distance relationships. So I'm just like, dude, you're going to lose. This is not going to work out. You need to just abandon this shit. And 90% of the time, I'm right.
And you know what? The movie should have been focused on those two characters. Really. I thought they were the strongest.
I understand why it has to bounce around. You got her sister Christina Applegate and her brother-in-law Jim Gaffigan, and it's not. It has to have some kind of plot to it, but for the most part, I thought it did more things right than it did wrong.
Well, it did have a plot. I mean, you got Justin Long. What's his character? And Garrett, and you got Drew Barrymore, Aaron. They meet in New York, but Drew Barrymore, she's only there as an intern. She's about to go to a program at a college.
She's got 6 weeks left.
Yeah. She's going to a graduate school program in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So she's got 6 weeks left. They fall into it because Justin Long just got out of a breakup. She doesn't want anything long term because she's like school and career oriented, and they just think it's going to be a fling. But the more they hang out, the more they start to like each other. Garrett doesn't want to leave his job at the record label in New York, and she's not going to pass up this opportunity to be in this class. So they decide to do the long distance relationship thing, and that is the strongest part of the movie to me.
That's the premise. That's the trailer. You go into it. That's what you know about this film. Other than that, at some point, someone has sex on a table.
But the problem with the movie for me is that. Yeah, you're right. A lot of these, even when these characters are funny, they just seem like for this kind of movie, we got to have these obligatory characters. We got to have these two guys who are wackier than the average annoying friend that you would have. We got to have like,
which is a lot like Leon in real life.
Yeah, I know. You ain't got to tell me. I know. You too.
They were so clearly written into a much better film that didn't require that shit. You know, those parts where they're like, we got to make this dirty, were not entertaining at all. They were just like those parts in every other crappy rated R romantic comedy or sex comedy. Whereas those characters you actually are interested in. Justin Long and Drew Barrymore, I mean, I guess they're a couple in real life or were, but they've got solid chemistry.
I mean, I know they were for a while, then I heard they broke up.
Yeah, I think they broke up.
There's something about them maybe being off and on, but I don't think they're together now, but they certainly were.
Well, they hit it off in this film convincingly because you like them and you root for them. You want it to work. They're really funny together. They have that recognizable, like, give and take that you have when you're with someone that you feel about this way. You're like, man, I know this is a bad idea, but shit, man, this girl really, she gets me, you know? It's one of those things, and you can't help but get into following their
You know what it is? It's God fucking with you. You know, it's like the moment you find the perfect girl, God got to come in and just say, but hey, she ain't staying. You know?
Well, it is funny how it opens with him just kind of getting dumped by a girl, and he don't even know why. And he doesn't even really care that much. I mean, he's just kind of shown his like,
well, I knew why. He was a shitty boyfriend. I knew why.
Well, that threw me off. Because like the movie starts out with this guy just being just completely like, you know, he just doesn't give a shit, and it makes you really think, wow, I just don't like this guy. and then I thought the movie was going to be about turning him around or something, but it wasn't.
Man, I didn't get that at all. I was like, man, it seems like a guy who's like in a relationship where he's like wants to make it work, but she's kind of a lunatic.
Yeah,
I mean, she flat out is a lunatic. She's like, you should have read my thoughts, and you're like, wait, what?
You guys didn't read that book.
And then he goes, you know what? At that moment, you're like, I like this guy even more because he realizes, shit, man, I didn't just lose anything. That was a giant bonus that she walked out. But the thing is,
his friends even told him, dude, you're being an idiot.
You kind of missed it because that's what makes it all that much more important. The way he hits it off with Drew Barrymore, because when they first get together, it's like, okay, for him, she's just like some chick he's picking up. She's just gonna be a lay for the night, and so she's thinking the same thing with him. But the fact is, with that other girl, they just didn't have that chemistry. They weren't reading each other. Here, suddenly, it's like, wow, this is supposed to be a one night stand, but this chick is actually so cool. I feel different. I want to spend time with her, and it builds into something.
And I thought that's what the movie was trying to establish.
Maybe that's where I just didn't really care.
Plus, his friends are like douchebags who can't get a date. They're not really the scions for great dating advice.
I know. Maybe that's my problem.
That's what I'm saying.
They were scions to me. I don't listen to these guys.
Well, see, that's the thing. These guys, I like them at times when they're funny, but then sometimes they annoy me. Like when he's about to have sex, the roommate is next door playing music loud, like the soundtrack to them about to have sex.
Where's that coming from?
Dan.
Hey, Garrett.
Hey, Dan.
Hello in there.
What was our rule?
Just because I can hear you through the wall doesn't mean I get to participate.
Right, and what were you doing just now?
Participating.
Okay.
Look, man, I just thought maybe, it'd be fun if I DJ'd your hookup.
So, is this like what you guys do when you bring girls over? He DJs your hookup?
No.
Is that what this frat house is all about?
No. Listen, I'm really sorry.
You know what? I was totally pretending to be mad because I didn't want you to think I was slutty. I don't care at all.
Oh.
I think it's kind of awesome.
Really? Well, that's weird.
In fact, Dan, take me to Berlin.
He's probably playing music while they're having sex. I wish one of y'all would be in the next room doing that.
You saying you don't want me to do that anymore?
No,
I thought I was helping out.
You know what? You never did that, because if it did, a hand would come to the wall like the Terminator and beat the shit out of you. I wish you would be doing that.
Leon, you always play shitty music, dude. You always play Vanilla Ice and all.
That's what. Yeah.
He never complains about my Christopher Cross soundtrack. He loves it.
I know. I'm about to have sex with a girl. He's over there playing "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." Some old romantic Negro spirituals for you.
Set the mood with some Mortal Kombat.
Fuck faster, Corey. Fuck faster.
And that's when my hand would come to that wall. Fatality. I don't want to just talk about those two guys because that's not what annoyed me in the movie either. And I think I've mentioned enough that they have crowbarred some of the raunchy jokes in there to where it didn't seem natural. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. I want to talk about the things that did work in this movie for me, and it is the long distance relationship. And the reason why is because it really don't go to the movie with somebody you're in a long distance relationship in. When you fly to New York, wherever it is you're going to see this girl, and she says, let's go see a romantic comedy, rent something. Don't go see this shit, because y'all going to break up right after it's over with. I don't care how optimistic this shit is at the end.
It'll paint a nice picture of how ridiculous your relationship is.
It's a Trojan horse, because you'd be like, come on, this will be a movie about us. You start out all happy.
Yeah.
By the end, you look at each other like, what are we doing?
All right, if you do go see it, please go see the movie. When you get home that night, fuck the shit out of it like you never had before, because that shit's probably gonna be gone.
That ain't us, baby. That ain't us.
She's gonna turn to you and be like, "You better tell your friends to fuck off."
Yeah, no, I'm not saying long distance relationships don't work, and this does kind of give an optimistic approach to those. But it is kind of hard to see, because they do play that realistically, and the reason why it works for romantic comedy like this is because it's not the communication or lack of it that puts this relationship in jeopardy. It is a real communication problem. It's not somebody not wanting to listen and running off because they're upset or they're not answering their phone. It is the distance.
Literal communication problem.
Yeah, and these two characters, near the end of the movie, I really love that there's one scene where they handle it like mature, real people. They talk about it, and they have to face up to the realities of what they're in. And it's really heartbreaking, because by this point, you do see them for, well, however stupid they might have been early in the movie, you do see them as, well, they do have a good relationship. I mean, they don't, and when they argue about real things, and they make up like real people.
And on the whole, it avoids the biggest flaw of these films, which is, of course, if you would just talk about what's going on.
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah, then it wouldn't be a problem. It totally says, oh yeah, maybe I should tell her. Okay, I'm going to tell her. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
no problem. You know, it's none of that whole 20 minutes of watching someone dance around their secret and then the other person getting all pissed off when they find out.
Yeah.
You know? The film doesn't fuck with that shit. That stuff is annoying. That's lazy writing.
Yeah.
This feels like a real couple. This feels like something that could really happen. It's only, like I said, those silly sex scenes that take you out of it, and you go, all right. I mean, especially, come on, let's face it. The table sequence, everyone's seen the trailer, they're having sex at the table, and then later someone, after Christina Applegate scrubbed the shit out of it, later someone drops their corn on the table and eats it, and everyone acts all horrified. It's like, dude, she just bleached that table.
Well,
it's
you know what?
Be fine.
Yeah, but she got OCD.
Yeah, she does. She's like a germaphobe, and they kind of, and I like that they don't play that up. They let you figure it out. You know, she goes to a place and she's like, oh, there's so many people in here, and it's like they don't play it wacky. They play her like somebody who just very subtly drops hints of, I have a problem.
Yeah.
And Christina Applegate I really like in this movie.
Yeah, I do too. I've always liked Christina Applegate. I mean, she's not like a major player here, but she serves her role admirably. She's a flawed character who is still likable nonetheless, and helps the characters get where they need to get.
Well, see, this is supposed to have a much smaller part, but she was so good they just kept writing more for her.
And you know, the thing is, I thought all the side characters were much better than the two main. Sure, they got along, they were a great couple, but I thought everything was just so goddamn convenient and so just, I don't know.
Really convenient?
How so?
I thought it all just fell into place. Like, it was just, I really didn't get any sense of like there was no point in the movie where I was like, I didn't think they were really realizing how far like this was going to just end up.
You didn't?
Terrible. No, not really. No, and I think I think it's because I just didn't really care for the characters.
You just
and
really hate
you
Justin
guys
Long.
are looking at me like I'm crazy. No, I honestly thought just as far as the movie, it just seemed like it was going through the predictable route I'd expected to go.
Well, it is a romantic comedy. I mean, even though it's rated R,
I get that, but it's still predictable. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
I didn't really feel that way at all. I felt like as romantic comedies go, I thought it was pretty far off the beaten path, generally
I didn't
speaking.
think these characters were interesting, though. I didn't really care about their situation as far as like their job, because they both seemed, they were both selfish people, but at the same time, it seemed like the movie was trying to get this on the same page, but it felt like it was being a little forced as far as their characters.
Co-host,
like a lot of the logic in this movie didn't make sense to me.
Can I ask you something? Are you running on a Windows operating system? Do you hate Justin Long because he was the Mac guy?
No.
And it's Vista that he's using.
I'm sorry, man, but I just didn't find these characters all
I'm not
that
sure how they were all that selfish either.
Plus,
I don't even see that.
I don't want to go back to other stuff, but it just sticks in my mind with Eat, Pray, Love, how we had this character who was extremely selfish, and you were just like defending her like, well, I have a lot of friends who are like that, so it's okay.
But I know, I was like, I know these people exist. I know those type of people exist.
On Facebook.
They are out there, regardless if you don't want to see a movie about them or not. They are out there. But with this, it just seemed like, I don't know. It just seemed a little too predictable for me. Maybe that's the problem.
You know what? I would say this, and maybe I don't think it's the personality of Drew Barrymore. Somebody shoot this motherfucker over here. I know, I'm fucking with you, man. I'm just messing with you. I was waiting for that kind of reaction. Hey, wait a minute. You coughed too? Yeah, exactly. You're like,
oh, will you just die already?
But man, Drew Barrymore, I don't know what it is about her. Sometimes I think she's good as an actress, and sometimes I think she's weak. And in this, I thought she was pretty weak.
I thought she was, and that's why I really didn't care about her. I mean, it really felt
she didn't deliver her lines convincingly to me.
No, not at all. I mean, not, and that's maybe that's my big problem, because I've never really cared so much for Justin Long too. Maybe he's like another Michael Cera to me, where I just didn't really, as soon as the guy starts talking, I tune out. So maybe that's it, because I honestly thought if they had two other actors playing this role, both of their roles, I probably would have had more.
I really do like Drew Barrymore too. She's one of my, I don't know why, she's one of my favorite people in Hollywood, but for some reason this movie, I was just like, I'm just not getting her as a real character.
I know why. Because you figure if she's gonna fuck Tom Green, you got a shot with her.
I can't argue with that.
But you know what? I think that was the major issue. And plus, there's a montage scene in here where they're all getting along great. They're running around on the beach, being a couple, and I just found it really fucking annoying.
Are you lonely?
I know. No, I just
do. We need to get you a calculator.
I just found it annoying, man.
Get him
I was like,
speaking spell.
I don't give a shit. Will somebody throw in an assassin or something in this goddamn movie?
I do not get you sometimes, man. Sometimes you were like so.
Just give me Charlie Day.
It's like, what movie did you go see?
Honestly, so much of what you say, and I'm like, did you actually see the same?
No,
movie?
I did. I did see the same movie. I really did.
He just was not looking for anything that this movie had to offer.
You know what, Leon? This is going to be my Inception review, okay? I didn't like it, okay? I didn't get it. I don't understand what's so appealing about these characters and this complicated story with them having long-distance relationships. You know what? Cut out Drew Barrymore and just fuck your phone, all right? Just stay home with that phone, develop a relationship, get some lipstick, fucking paint it on that phone.
Do they have that app now?
Fuck that. Not yet. I'm working on that.
If they had that app, he's got it downloaded.
The girlfriend app?
They have the vagina on the screen, but man, it's horrible.
I know it's a touch screen. I know it's a touch screen, but can it touch you back?
I see what you're saying. Romantic comedies, they're hit and miss with everybody at some point. It just takes the right ingredients to sometimes make it just right for that viewer. And I see where you're coming from. This just didn't taste good to you. So you didn't like the flavor. So what would you give it then?
I'll give it a rental. I mean, because despite that, I mean, it did have some genuine moments in there where I did find some scenes kind of charming, but like I said, I found all the supporting characters far more interesting, because they were kind of telling the truth to the main characters about how this is going to end, or what they could be doing. Like, I love the scene where he's like, oh, so you guys are doing a long distance thing. Don't you think he's out there like fucking some girl right now, or and his buddies were telling him the same thing, and I was like, okay, yeah, we've all heard that before.
But that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah, that's why it was interesting.
But those scenes aren't. I mean, that's just small parts of the film. That's not the main plot. The main plot is their relationship being long distance, and I just didn't care for it.
Okay. You've never been in love, have you? Well, at least not with, someone who you didn't have to give your credit card number to, right?
What is this? Low.
No, you're never lonely, because as long as you can keep paying, they're still around.
Cyrus, I know why you cry, but it is something I can never do.
It's like Cole said that the whole time, was going like, I don't understand why you just don't buy a real doll. This don't make any sense to me. This movie's bullshit.
There you go. Gone in with it's a romantic comedy. I don't see why they don't just buy a real doll. That's his review for every romantic comedy.
I was like, where's the romance and where's the comedy?
Well, what would you give it?
For me, I probably liked it the best out of all you guys.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't deny that there's plenty of places where the jokes fall flat, but the things it had going for it, I thought it did very, very well, and that they felt like a real couple, probably because they were. And Justin Long and Drew Barrymore aren't my favorite people, but they were in this. I thought they were great. And besides how funny the side characters were, and all the little jokes that were funny, and the touches of dialogue that felt just easy and came out naturally, is the fact that my favorite thing is how realistic they dealt with the long distance relationship. For me, it's a matinee, probably even almost a high matinee, but I'll just say a matinee.
Okay.
This was one of these years that was one of the worst in memory for romantic comedies. I mean, I'm pretty sure every single one that came out this year was just atrocious, and if not a fuck you, then pretty goddamn close.
I think we saw something recently.
Was there something else that was a tolerable romantic comedy?
No, it was good.
Either way, it's gotten to the point that the bar has been so lowered. Even with 500 Days of Summer last this year, which I felt like this was kind of a more commercial take on that same sort of idea of let's tell a realistic story about a relationship. I didn't love this. I liked it. The jokes fell flat a lot of the time, but I really did like these leads a lot, and I wanted them to work it out. I'm going to give it a matinee too. I'm kind of surprised you, from the way you were talking about, Leon, you didn't give it a full price.
Did my review sway you? Is that what happened? Because you guys were fucking looking at me like I was trying to explain to you, no, idiots, the world is fucking flat. You moron. I bash your head into it to make you realize that?
No.
Your feelings are still much more negative than mine.
And that's what brought the movie down for me. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here that are good. I mean, your two leads, even though I thought one of them was stronger than the other. I was looking at some of the other people in here that I like who make just small appearances. Ron Livingston makes a very small appearance. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, wow, tiny appearance.
Yeah, very tiny, but it was funny. And Christina Applegate's husband, Jim Gaffigan, he made me laugh.
He was funny.
You know what? He nailed every one of his lines.
Oh, he did. And that scene, the only reason why that scene of them having sex on the table, Justin Long and Drew Barrymore, is because he's there.
Yeah, his reaction shot and his line afterwards, the way he delivers it, is genuinely funny, despite the premise being pretty dumb.
He was the punchline of that whole
thing. Yeah, he was. And like I said, I like the approach of this is really, and I like this. This is what made me like 500 Days of Summer. There is more of a realistic approach, which makes more realistic problems, which make more realistic solutions to this kind of relationship in a mainstream film or mainstream romantic comedy. But all the stuff that they felt like they had to do to make this a rated R comedy, I mean, they could have took some of this stuff out and made it a PG-13 film also, and that really annoyed me. I mean, I really get annoyed when I see something that has potential being brought down by something so petty.
Especially because usually all else we've got is like Hallmark card films, and then we've got Three's Company romantic comedies, and this is something better than that they kind of sully.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give this a high rental. I mean, I enjoyed it, but its weakness is really obvious to me, and it's also frustrating because the two friends in there, they go between being, they need to be here to a point where I really don't like them. I mean, anybody who doesn't have enough sense to shut the door when they're taking a shit, it's just that bothered me to no end.
Why are you living with that guy? I don't care how long you've been friends. There's a point you draw the line. You go, dude, I know you don't understand, but if you don't want me to punch you in the face, you're going to close the goddamn door when you're taking a shit.
I don't understand. You say that, but I know all you guys that have worse roommates than that guy.
No, I've never had the guy that took a shit with the door open, because that guy...
You had the guy who invited prostitutes into your home.
Do you see him living here?
Well, I was going to say...
That was where he drew the line.
I would throw that guy out in the toilet that he sat on at the same time.
Did you have a guy drive a car through your house?
No, that was just the neighbors.
I was going to say, what's wrong with leaving the door open? I mean, it's like you're just hanging out.
You don't have a digestive tract. It doesn't apply.
Yeah, but maybe I just want to talk to my friends when they're hanging out.
I would throw that toilet out. I would throw that toilet outside with you on it. You'd be taking a shit outside. It would not happen with me.
I haven't seen my girlfriend in a while, and I'm losing my mind.
Phone sex. And lots of it.
I'm on top.
I'm on top. How can you be on top?
Didn't they say we were in your car?
No, we're on a plane.
This isn't really working.
I like the airplane. People do cars too much.